Your alternative news for Wednesday the 23rd of October. From Australia we hear that Chris the Merino sheep has died of old age. He shot to fame in 2015 after he was found in the wild carrying a world record fleece weighing 88 pounds. Poor little lamb. Your weather outlook has maybe a bit of rain and maybe a bit of sun, but whatever the weather, to try to have fun. Now on with the show at LJTV.
You're listening to Online here on OJTV. A Wednesday wander in a wacky world of wonders. Thank you for your time.
Hello and welcome to today's show. It's episode 44 of Online, and bless you for joining me. I'm a little bit dark on the screen, today's screen a little bit. Might have to change that in a little while. See what I can do. So what have we got in store on today's show? Well, our album in focus is London Calling from 1979. It is the album from The Clash, and we'll be telling you more about it and hearing two songs from it on today's show. We've got brand new music in store for you. We've also got brand new movies that are released on home release, so you should be able to have and hold those at home if you wish. Also, they're about a week old now, so I do wait for them to be out so we can see the user reviews of the movies and of the games. So that's on today's show. You'll be seeing the trailers and we'll be playing some great music along the way. A big shout out to all of my mods who have made it straight there at the beginning on today's show. Bless you for joining me. Thank you so much. Devil's Son and Emily in particular. So, thank you. So what have we got in store? We're going to start off with This Must Be the Place from Talking Heads. So welcome home. What have we got in store? Well, we have a fascinating fact for you later on in today's show. We've got some brand new stuff, just in case you've just joined us. We've also got some brand new music, some brand new games, and some brand new movies. But we've also got a retro retrospective, so we will be going back to a classic game as well on today's show. So stay tuned for some of these things, as well as going back to the charts of yesteryear, which will be up next with our first trailer of today's show. Just to give you an idea of what to expect, really. I swear, the camera does look a little dark to me. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. What have we got now? Where are we moving to? Well, the song we'll be playing over this trailer that we'll be seeing in just a moment will be from 1964. It will be from the Nashville Teens, who were brand new into this week's chart of 1964 with Google Eye. That was in at number 34. So that will be happening in just a moment. But whilst we'll be listening to that, we'll also have the trailer for Felix the Reaper, which is the brand new game that we're highlighting for the Xbox One for this week. I nearly said 360. The Xbox One for this week. It's the first of our game highlights. And Felix the Reaper, I was playing on Monday's stream. Yes, Monday's late night stream, which was not at the time that was normally scheduled, like today's show, not at the time that's normally scheduled. We have changed the hours, and bless you for joining us for the right hours, as I would normally be 2 hours later. So everything's a little bit sped up this week. Okay, so that's the cover magazine that you might have already seen on Twitter. If you haven't, then a retweet would be most appreciated. A like and a retweet. I'm pretty sure everybody at the moment has already in chat has already covered that, but we're talking to you about Felix the Reaper, which should be that picture there. So Felix is a member of the Ministry of Death. He hopes to meet his love, the Ministry of Life, Betty. So he means to learn, and in the meantime learns to dance in order to impress her. There we go. Struggled my way through it, but that's what Felix the Reaper is all about. We have a trailer to whet your appetite, and we'll be playing some music over that, so I just need to make sure it's the right trailer selected. It should be Game 1, but it is Movie 1, so let's move that one over to there. There we go. So yes, we're going to be playing some music over the visuals, so you won't be seeing or hearing the sound of the trailer, but if you do want to hear the sound of the trailer, then there is an official link to their Twitter feed, now been tweeted out by me, and also on there it has the link to the YouTube clip, the one that we're about to watch. So there we go. Alright, so let's go back over to that disc. There we are, and we're going to enjoy Google Eye from the Nashville Teens, which was brand new. Once again, it was brand new this week of 1964. I'm standing far too close. That's where I should be. 1964, it was brand new, and here's the trailer.
Jump in my old Jeep wagon, bump to the banks of the river, dig me a worm and a crooked scrum, and wade out into the water. Oh, goodbye, him up, Google-eye, 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 eat him up, Google-eye, 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 goodbye. Google-eye, bait me a hook in the morning, throw him out into the water, make him swim with a dorsal fin and come home to me, daughter. Oh, goodbye. Google-eye, eat him up, Google-eye, 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 eat him up, Google-eye, 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 goodbye. Google-eye. Google-eye, swim down the hip loop, look up at me from the water. Google-eye, jump ready for on your own and get him up out of the water. Oh, goodbye. Google-eye, eat him up, Google-eye, 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 eat him up, Google-eye, 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 goodbye. Google-eye, Google-eye, fry and sizzle, sweet smoke lay on the water. Take off Google-eye scales and tails, onto me, daughter. Goodbye. Google-eye, eat him up, Google-eye, 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 eat him up, Google-eye, 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 goodbye. Google-eye, goodbye. Goodbye.
Okay, so that was brand new into this week's chart of 1964. It is Google Eye. My notes are upside down. It was Google Eye, which was brand new from the Nashville Teens into this week's chart of 1964 at number 34. Just wanted to play that track because it's not a track you hear very often. Anyway, I have moved my setup around a little bit, so I'm trying to get used to where my microphone is. So we've just been talking about Felix the Reaper. If you want to find out more about that brand new game that is also available on the Game Pass, then do find out about it. There also should be a video down below that I was playing the game on Monday evening. I was playing it. So that is the first game. That is the magazine that gives you an idea of what to expect on today's show. On there, it will give you a hint to what this week's fascinating fact is all about. You'll also see pictures on there are all about the brand new artists. So the brand new artist pictures are all running down the side. If you follow those pictures, you will find your way to the brand new musicians behind this brand new music. So we're going to start off with Max Pope. Max Pope's picture should be that one there. Here is Max Pope, and he is from Birmingham, and I think, and now lives in London. But I will confirm that information after we've enjoyed the first of the brand new songs on today's show. This song is called You'll Never Die. Have a listen, see what you think.
Tired and lonely, need some medicine to get out my head. Can't believe the things I've said. And now the curtains twitch and close. Demons waiting to overthrow me. I can't be here. They can smell my fear. Don't look back. Can't turn it back. You've got yourself to blame. If you never live, you'll never die. You'll never die. Never die. You'll never die. I get home when the dawn creeps in, looking like something the cat dragged in, and I think of you and the things I do. I stole a flower from across the road, and I would have kept it, but my hands were cold. I think of you and the things I do. Don't look back. got yourself to blame. You've got yourself to blame. Don't look back, can't turn it back. You've got yourself to blame. And if you never live, you'll never die. You'll never die. Never die. You'll 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 never die.
So this is Max Pope, who is from Brighton, not Birmingham at all. I got that incorrect, but I do believe he does now live in London. So if you want to find out more about him, there is a tweet out with that picture to support this new artist. Then I'm sure they'll be pleased with a like, a retweet, or a follow. Any of the above would be most appreciated. I know I can speak from my experience. It always gives a little bit of warmth to the heart. So, what have we got in store next? Let me turn the music back up. We've got They Might Be Giants as our very next song keyed up already. We'll be moving on to a fascinating fact. We'll have some retro adverts for you. We'll also be talking to you about brand new movies. So stay tuned. We'll be talking about all of these things still to come, and I'll be trying to catch up with you lovely people in chat as well. But a Wednesday show is usually full of so many features to keep us chatting. So hopefully I'll be sharing something even more brand new for you very shortly.
They call me Dr. Worm. Good morning, how are you? I'm Dr. Worm. I'm interested in things. I'm not a real doctor, but I am a real worm. I am an actual worm. I live like a worm. I like to play the drums. I think I'm getting good, but I can handle criticism. I'll show you what I know, and you can tell me if you think I'm getting better on the drums. I'll leave the front unlocked, 'cause I can hear the doorbell. When I get into it, I can't tell if you are watching me twirling the stick. When I give the signal, my friend Rabbi will play the solo. Someday somebody else besides me will call me by my stage name. They will call me Dr. Worm. Good morning, how are you? I'm Dr. Worm. I'm interested in things. I'm not a real doctor, but I am a real worm. I am an actual worm. I live like a worm, and I like to play the drums. I think I'm getting good, but I can handle criticism. I'll show you what I know, and you can tell me if you think I'm getting better on the drums. I'm not a real doctor, but they call me Dr. Worm.
So that was They Might Be Giants with Dr. Worm. We're going to take our first retro ad break on today's show. We'll have more later on, but we'll be back with a fascinating fact, and we'll be backing that up with music as well. So stay tuned for some of these things and even more that I haven't even explained.
Now you can stay in the sun longer because Ambre Solaire has a special new filter to help protect and moisturize your skin for a deeper tan than ever before.
Okay, I'm back with you. I do apologise for that. A little bit of a technical hitch we had there. We can take Max Pope's picture off of the screen, and we're now going to move to a fascinating fact for you, which I have written down in my pocket. So, this fascinating fact can be about anything at all, and then I try to back it up in music. So up next, we'll be hearing from the Stranglers. To sort of keep within the type of genre that the album in focus tends to dictate each and every week. So the album in focus this week is from The Clash. We'll be telling you more about that in a very short while anyway, after the next song. So, the fascinating fact is the first commercial uniform to be registered by the United States Patent and Trademark Office was the Playboy Bunny outfit. So, I think that is a fascinating fact, a nice fact, at the very least, a nice and sleazy fact, maybe. Up next, we've got Nice and Sleazy from the Stranglers, so every pun is intended.
Across the West Sea, we didn't have much idea of the kind of climate waiting. We used our hands for guidance, like the children of a preacher, like a dry tree seeking water, or a daughter. Nice and sleazy, nice and sleazy does it. sleazy, nice and sleazy. Does it every time. Nice and sleazy, nice and sleazy. Does it every time. Nice and sleazy, does it. Nice and sleazy, nice and sleazy. Does it every time. Nice and sleazy, nice and sleazy. Does it every time. Nice and sleazy, does it. An angel came from outside, had no halo, had no father, with a coat of many colors. He spoke of brothers many, wine and women, song of plenty. He began to write a chapter in his story. Nice and sleazy, nice and sleazy does it. Nice and sleazy does it. Nice and sleazy does it. Does it every time.
Every time. Does it every time. Just in case you were wondering. So that was The Stranglers with Nice and Sleazy. We followed that after our fascinating fact. It all linked in together as we were talking about a fascinating fact that was nice and sleazy in its own right, as it was all about the Playboy bunny outfits being patented, trademarked at... that was the fascinating fact. They were the first ones. They were the very first ones to be patented trademark uniform in the United States. There we are. Anyway, has anybody noticed that on this magazine cover that you'll see on Twitter, it's actually that album cover and not the original album cover for the band in focus for this week? Just wondered, because it's actually a kitten smashing the guitar. Let me change it to the right one. Well, we'll change it to the right one when we get back to the album in focus next time around. But this is a classic album. It is so classic that it has been covered, and then people don't realise that it is ripping off another cover previously. So it is paying homage to an Elvis Presley cover with the way that it's got its writing, green writing and pink down the side, which was the Elvis Presley album, actually. I think it was called just Elvis Presley. Anyway, we're not focusing too much on that album. We're focusing on this album, London Calling, which was released back in 1979 by The Clash, and the album is the third studio album from the boys. It was a difficult time for the band, as there was writer's block being had, which I think is also means that a band themselves have to find a new way of writing, and sometimes it can spark the most creative position, or the most creative writing from the band at that time, in my opinion, or throughout their entire career, really, is what I'm saying. When they get desperate to get the writing out of them and it's not coming, that's what I'm saying. Sometimes you can really find a different voice. Anyway, this is a 5 out of 5 star album, so it's not just my humble opinion. We also look to AllMusic for our reviews. This album was recorded in London and produced by Guy Stevens, producer extraordinaire. There's not a fascinating fact, there is a official link to the album in focus that we'll be having after our very first song, and we're linking the very first song to the fascinating fact. That's why I'm trying to remember that. The first song we're going to hear from the album in focus was actually released as a single, I believe, in Australia exclusively. It's Clamp Down. It's an excellent track from a very excellent album, and we've got plenty of information to tell you about it. It was also inducted into the Grammy Hall of Fame, so it's not just our humble opinion. I shall be expanding on that subject later on. Here is Clamp Down.
This We will teach our twisted speech to the unbelievers. We will train our blue-eyed men to be unbelievers. Just to practice December, I say double and again. I'm not looking for the class down. No man born with a living soul can. We're looking for the class down. Go over the wall, 'cause some of us to fall. How can you refuse it? Let fury have the hour, anger can be power. You know that you can use it. Voices in your head are calling. Stop wasting your time. There's nothing coming. Are you a fool who thinks someone could save you? The men at the factory, old and cunning. You don't own nothing. Boy, get running. It's the pictures of your life they want to steal. You go up and you come down, and we're looking for the class down. You stop wearing blue and brown, and we're looking for the class down. So you got someone to boss around and make you feel big now. You drift until you brutalize and make your first kill now. In these days of evil prosperity, we're looking for the class down. Lately, one or two has fully paid their dues. We're looking for the class down. Hot and long and long. We're looking for the class down. Hot and long and long. We're looking for the class down. Yeah, I'm working hard in Harrisburg. Working hard in Petersburg.
So this is Clampdown. It is the second single, I believe, that was released from the album, but exclusively in Australia. This is London Calling, the album in focus for this week from The Clash. It is the third studio album from the band, and we want to talk to you about the band members themselves. So this would be better known as Joe Strummer, but birth name John Graham Mellor. Well, obviously he changed his name to Joe Strummer, and he is the extraordinaire driving force behind this group, but also Mick Jones was also the other writing force behind this band that was also struggling with writer's block at the time. So let's show you a picture of Mick as well. There he is, the bass player. We also have to talk to you about, this is, where are we? It is Topper, that is Topper Hendon, I believe, and that means that one there will be Paul Simon. That's if I'm not mixing up the pictures. Anyway, that is the four members of the band. This album was considered at the time the greatest album, a double album to be released since Exile on Main Street. That very excellent double album that has been charted and respected for many, many years. This album, it has been placed on many a great list. We'll get into some of those later on. But on this album was members of Ian Dury and the Blockheads. So that is our official link. That's where we're going to go to with What a Waste. But whilst we're listening to What a Waste, which will be our official link to the album in focus, we'll also be moving over to some brand new movies with our official link. So that's what I need to find. I should have changed it all over. Don't worry. We'll get smoother as the weeks go on, I suppose. That's what I've got to tell myself. That's the first movie. We're okay. Okay, so that should be that one. So this is the first movie we're going to be seeing the visuals for, and the reason I need to definitely take a moment and point it out is because it's a Rob Zombie movie, not a Zob Rombie movie. I better make sure I'm saying it the right way around. And it is a horror movie, perfectly timed for Halloween. So 3 from Hell will be the visuals we'll be watching, and I'll tell you about that movie after we've heard and seen that going on. We'll be listening to Ian Dury and the Blockheads. So getting a little bit confused, but we'll get there. We'll get there. This is the official link to the album in focus.
I could be the driver in articulated lorry. I could be a poet, I wouldn't need to worry. I could be a teacher in a classroom full of scholars. I could be the sergeant in a squadron full of wallers. What a waste. What a waste. What a waste. What a waste. Because I chose to play the fool in a six-piece band. First night nerves, every one night stand. I should be glad to be so inclined. What a waste, what a waste. Rock and roll don't mind. I could be a lawyer with stratagems and ruses. I could be a doctor with poesis and bruises. I could be a writer with a growing reputation. I could be the ticket man at Fulham railway station. What a waste. What a waste. What a waste. What a waste. Because I chose to play the fool in a six-piece band. First night nerves, every one night stand. I should be glad to be so inclined. What a waste, what a waste. Rock and roll don't mind. I could be the catalyst that sparks the revolution. I could be an inmate in a long-term institution. I could enter wild extremes, I could know or die. I could yawn and be withdrawn and watch them gallify. What a waste. What a waste. What a waste. What a waste. The judge to play the ball in a six-piece band. First night nerves, every one night stand. I should be glad to be so inclined. What a waste, what a waste. Rock and roll don't mind. Chose to play the ball in a six-piece band. First night nerves, every one night stand. I should be glad to be so inclined. What a waste, what a waste. Rock and roll don't mind. What a waste, what a waste. Rock and roll don't mind.
So, the movie we've just watched the trailer for, but enjoyed the music for the official link to the album in focus, which I'll tell you more about in a second, was Free From Hell, and that is the new movie from Rob Zombie, and it also stars his wife. It is 18 rated, so keep that in mind, although it may have been obvious from that trailer. Free From Hell, 3 American convicts seek refuge in Mexico. So, it is I believe directed by Rob Zombie as well. But you can find out more information about it, as I've already tweeted out about it on my official Twitter feed. So if you want to find out more information about them, you can follow the link to their official Twitter feed. And a share and like is most appreciated on all fronts, no doubt. So it doesn't have to be just mine. I'm not trying to be selfish. I'm trying to share something that you might be interested in. If you want to just follow the breadcrumbs, and that's all good with me. So, what are we up to next? So I was going to tell you about the link. So via Norman Watts Roy, who played the bass guitar on the album In Focus, who was also a member of Ian Dury and the Blockheads, and also via Mickey Gallagher, who plays the organ on the album In Focus, but also was a member of Ian Dury and the Blockheads. That's why that was an official link to the album In Focus. So we've got up next, we've got brand new music. It's from a London-based artist. The name of the song, I can't see it right now, but we're going to hit play and we'll tell you more about this brand new artist in just a moment, and we'll ask you to follow the breadcrumbs if you are so interested to the Twitter feed once again. So here is brand new music. Let's just hit play and then we can take a moment.
I'm starting to change with the weeks and the days. Got this new blue head face. I think I kinda like it. Think I kinda like it. Yeah. Think I kinda like it. 'Cause I get tired of the same shit. Got new hair, a new face. I'm from outer space, and I'm pretty sure I'll get used to it. Guess I'm trying to get by. 'Cause like the weather, I change with time. And I sit at home, crying the pavement. I wish I was Stephen Malkmus. I wanted change, no one forced it. My hair is blue, it's pretty obvious that I kinda like it. Think I kinda like it. Yeah, think I kinda like it. 'Cause I get tired of the same shit. Got new hair, a new face. I'm from outer space.
Oops. I think that was my fault. I have to throw my hands up to that one. So maybe I can get the end part of that song back, but that was I Wish I Was Stephen Malkmus. But we were, how far along were we in the track anyway? I don't know, somewhere like there. I'm going to turn it down and talk over it a bit. Sorry, didn't mean to do that. That is the brand new music, the second brand new music that was in store on today's show, with a unplanned technical hitch too. Let's move back over to the desk and talk about it. We'll get over it now. So, I probably also said that that is also something that is too naughty for Noise Radio, but there is explicit content contained within this show anyway. This is an 18 rated show, so do keep that in mind in the lyrics as well as maybe in some of those trailers actually. But what have we got in store? I do apologise for that. Thank you very much for sticking with me with the technical issues, and welcome to the chat. Bless your heart for joining us, VTech. How are you doing? What have we got in store? I wanted to find the picture for the new music, so I can direct you to the Twitter feed. So earlier on we heard from Max Poe, so that should be this one here. Let's get that sorted. There she is. This is Be Bad, Boo, something along those lines. Anyway, if you follow that picture on the Twitter feed, you will find a direct link to her official Twitter feed, and the name of this song is I Wish I Was Stephen Malkmus. Brand new music. Anyway, we're going to be moving on to the beat next with Too Nice to Talk To. Of course, you lovely people in chat are not that at all. I'm going to try and catch up with you and what you're saying whilst this next track is playing. But we've got an album in focus from The Clash. We've got plenty of features to get through, more trailers to come, and hopefully uninterrupted more brand new music as well. Here is Too Nice to Talk To. Yes.
myself through. There's nothing to say, no, there's nothing to do. You're just too nice to talk to. Too nice to talk to. You're too nice to talk to. You're too nice to talk to. The right hands wouldn't come out for you. I glanced but you just stared me through. Felt such a fool, I felt you knew. Thought you might tell me to go away. Now I think quite a lot of my own point of view. Is that all I had that's in common with you? The motions of God in my heart is retarded. You're too nice to talk to. 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 This evening hasn't gone like I planned. Should I take the situation in hand? Can't go home, but I can't seem to dance. You chain my feet, I stamp and stamp and stamp. Because nothing I do ever seems to be right. The same night to mine every Saturday night. Out the window, you might say I'm out of my mind. But you're too nice to talk to. 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 Too nice.
So that was The Beats with Too Nice to Talk To, an excellent track, an upbeat song, but I also love the fact that they sneak in the word penis in there. I don't know if anybody ever notices, they do say penis in the lyrics. An excellent track all the same, but yes, I'm chuffed to hear that you're all doing well in today's chat. Bless your hearts for joining me. What have we got in store next? Well, we've got another game to talk to you about next. So that was the brand new music. This is the next game we're talking about on today's show. This is the one we're highlighting for the PlayStation release, but there may be other consoles that it's available on. I haven't done all of that research for you. I'd like to encourage you to find out more. We will be playing the trailer whilst we're here. Plastic Bertrand in a second, so a French artist, whilst we see the visuals of Mega Aquarium. So Mega Aquarium is pretty much what you'd expect. It's like a SeaWorld, make your own SeaWorld theme park type of game where you look after the visitors and the staff as well as the fish. So if you're a fish fancier, then this may be the game for you. It has a 7.3 rating from us, and I have just tweeted out more information about it now. So let's play the trailer for you, which should be this button. And we can play some music over this too. So as I say, we'll be playing some Plastic Bertrand, and that is Sam Pam Plumois. But then forgive me, that is French, so I've probably not got my pronunciation perfect.
Ça se place, j'ai sur mon lit à bouffer sa langue en buvant dans mon whisky. Quant à moi, peu dormi, vie débris, mais j'ai dû dormir dans la gouttière où j'ai eu un flash. En 4 couleurs. Allez hop, un matin, une louloute est venue chez moi, poupée de cellophane, cheveux chinois, un sparadrap, une gueule de bois, a bu ma bière dans un grand verre en caoutchouc. Comme un indien dans son igloo. Ça plane pour moi. Ça plane pour moi. Ça plane pour moi. Moi. Ça plane pour moi. Ça plane pour moi. Allez hop, la nana, quel panard, quelle vibration de s'envoyer sur paillasson. Limé, ruiné, vidé, comblé. You are the king of the divan, qu'elle me dit en passant. I am the king of the divan. Ça plane pour moi. Ça plane pour moi. Ça plane pour moi. Moi. Ça plane pour moi.
But you are a blessing, sir. You are a blessing. So it's a blessing that you join us. Thank you, one and all. Thank you very much for joining us in today's chat. We're currently listening to Plastic Bertrand. This has been used on many a soundtrack. But this is Sam Plan Pour Moi. Yeah, something like that. Anyway, we've got plenty of music coming up. We've got plenty of trailers still to come. We'll be telling you about the retro retrospective, and we've even got some retro adverts as well for you, as we do like our retro and our vintage look here.
Allez hop, banana, c'est tiré, c'est barré, enfin c'est marre, tout cassé, l'évier, le bar me laissant seul, comme un grand connard. Le pied dans le plat, ça plane pour moi, ça plane pour moi, ça plane pour moi, moi, ça plane pour moi. Ça plane pour moi, ça plane pour moi, ça plane pour moi.
It's not quite in the right place. There is a behind the scenes there, but I like to keep it behind the scenes. So that was Plastic Bertrand, an excellent song and an uplifting track. Thank you very much for all of the host and all of the involvement in today's show. I feel blessed. Thank you so much. You're gonna get me out of the habit of saying bless you. Anyway, what are we up to next? We've got the Gorillaz as our next artist, and then we'll be finishing off this first hour of the show and then moving into the second hour of the show. That's just the way time works. But thank you so much for staying with LJTV. Take care, fella. Thank you so much for stopping by.
I lost my leg, like I lost my way. So no loose ends, nothing to see me down. How are we going to work this out? Dreams are bad, our heads are mad. I love the girl, but God only knows it's getting hard to see the sun coming through. I love you, but what are we going to do?
Sorry, I think I misunderstood that message. I thought you were just running off then. But thank you very much for joining us once again. I hope all is well at home. Bless you.
Time is a low, don't you know? What are we going to do? We go down, all the sake of selflessness, all it doesn't
Now, suddenly, I don't know if anybody's ever seen the Deaf Comedy Jam with Bernie Mac. He does a whole bit where he talks about, I'm blessed. Well, I certainly feel blessed, but if you ever see that particular stand-up, it's taken a different meaning in my mind at the moment. Anyway, we're listening to the Gorillaz with Every Planet We Find Is Dead, which is a very uplifting track, I think, just in title anyway. We've got to continue with our sermon after the hour, at the top of the hour, where we'll have the news and the weather. The weather is not as useful as you would imagine, but the news is actual news. If you want to know more news on the show, then do type in exclamation Met, and it will tell you how to find the weather in the chat for your area. There we are. We get there in the end.
Your alternative news for Wednesday the 23rd of October. From Australia we hear that Chris the Merino sheep has died of old age. He shot to fame in 2015 after he was found in the wild carrying a world record fleece weighing 88 pounds. Poor little lamb. Your weather outlook has maybe a bit of rain and maybe a bit of sun, but whatever the weather, to try to have fun. Now on with the show at LJTV.
You're listening to Online here on OJTV. A Wednesday wander in a wacky world of wonders. Thank you for your time.
Now, the news is always read by Stephanie Hawking. Anyway, so what have we got in store? Welcome to part 2 of today's show. This is episode 44 of Online. Bless your hearts for joining me, and welcome one and all. Thank you very much for the new follow. This is the web show. I do some very different type of content that you'll find on Mixer. Also, you'll find me over on Twitch and YouTube. I would appreciate all of the support on any of those channels if you also have some of those. Most appreciated indeed. But your involvement in today's show is paramount. We have an album in focus each and every Wednesday to introduce you to or remind you of. So the album in focus may be one that's already in your collection, but I want to encourage you to add it back into rotation. The album in focus is London Calling, the third studio album from The Clash. We'll be telling you more about that album and hearing another track from it in this hour. We've got some more brand new music to be sharing with you, as well as we'll be talking to you about some more movies, some more games, old and new. There is plenty of features on a Wednesday web show here on LJTV, and thank you so much. Bless your hearts for joining me. So yes, do get involved in the chat. I will catch up with you as we go through the show, but we're going to be starting off this second hour of the show with a song from Cake entitled Frank Sinatra. So tick in 2 boxes, if you wanted to. Maybe even 3 boxes. I don't know. How many boxes are you planning to tick? We're going to start off with Frank Sinatra from Cake as our first song of the second hour.
Get your clothes on. I'll buy you a nice treat.
Beyond the suns that guard this roost, beyond your flowers of flaming truth, beyond your latest ad campaigns, an old man sits collecting stamps in a room all filled with Chinese lamps. He saves what others throw away. He says that he'll be rich someday. We know of an ancient radiation that haunts dismembered constellations, a faintly glimmering radio station. Radiation that haunts dismembered constellations, a faintly glimmering radio station. While Frank Sinatra sings stormy weather, the flies and spiders get along together. Cobwebs fall on an old skipping record.
No, I don't mean any insult at all, but I'm glad that you're not taking one. No, I mean that as in bless your soul. Thank you so much for your kindness. That's what I'm. That's the intention of behind my words at the very least. But to not confuse, I'm going to move to a song that's got a double negative in it that says you haven't done nothing. Anyway, it's going to be the second track of the second hour, so it's a track from the charts of yesteryear. We move to my particular musical Bible, and we find that this very week of 1974 saw little Steveland Jenkins enter the charts at number 39, and Steveland Jenkins is better known as Stevie Wonder. So you haven't done nothing. Double negatives in there.
We are amazed but not amused by all the things you say that you do. Though much concerned but not involved with decisions that are made by you. But we are sick and tired of hearing your song, telling how you are gonna change right from wrong. Cause if you really want to hear our views, you haven't done nothing. It's not too cool to be ridiculed, but you brought this up on yourself. The world is tired to pacify. We want the truth and nothing else. Yeah. And we are sick and tired of hearing your song, telling how you are gonna change right from wrong. Cause if you really want to hear our views, you haven't done nothing. Jackson brought you along when you say doo-doo-up, yeah, doo-doo-up, oh, doo-doo-up, doo-doo-up, oh, doo-doo-up, we would not care to wake up to the nightmare that's becoming real life. But when misled, who knows a person's mind can turn as cold as ice. Why do you keep on making us hear your song, telling us how you're changing right from wrong? Cause if you really wanna hear our views, you haven't done nothing. Yeah, nothing. Something else you won't get say doo-doo-up, doo-doo-up, oh, doo-doo-up, doo-doo-up, sing it, doo-doo-up, 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 sing it loud for your people, say doo-doo-up, doo-doo-up, let it be count and say doo-doo-up, go, doo-doo-up, oh, doo-doo-up, doo-doo-up.
Okay, so that was brand new into this week's chart of 1974, and it was in at number 39, so just creeping into the top 40 for Stevie Wonder. We're going to be moving on. I shouldn't have turned away that way because my microphone's over this way. I do apologise for that. All right, we're going to be moving to some games to talk to you about. Let's have some 8-bit instrumental music to get us there, and I'll talk to you in a second. Okay, I'm back with you. I do apologise for that. I haven't quite set up power keys. That's the wrong trailer, actually. I haven't quite set up the power keys properly here. So we went to be talking about Autonauts. Autonauts is a city builder sim, and it's a simple and as complex as you make it, really, I do believe. But it is a 7.9 rating for this PC release. So if you want to find out more about it, I will be tweeting out about it in a second. But we'll be playing the correct trailer. That should be the correct trailer. And we'll also be having some brand new music. So this new artist is from Liverpool, and her name is Zuzu. Zuzu or Zuzu for the same argument I was having with who was it? Seven. It was with Seven the Zombie, I believe. I was having it that particular argument about when I was playing on the 24-hour stream. We were playing the World War Z. There was a particular debate about whether it's called World War Z or World War Z. Anyway, not that I'm looking to spark debate, not particularly with that. We're going to start the trailer again. Don't worry, I just sort of chatted over that. This new song is entitled Money Back. It's from a Liverpool-based artist called Zuzu. Have a listen to this whilst we watch the visuals.
I'll get there eventually. I'll get there eventually. If I had it, you could have it, but I don't now. And it's tragic, but I'm static and I'm broke down. And you panicked, you were frantic, so the peace out. So peace out. And it's a long way down. I haven't got it right now. It's a long way down. I haven't got it right now. I haven't got it right now. I'll get there eventually. I'll get there eventually. You want your money back? You want your money back, don't you? You want your money back. You want your money back. And I'm tempted to be selfish and to let go. Every sentence is pretentious and you don't know how I'm jaded from the drama, got to feel old. I'm so old. And it's a long way down. I haven't got it right now. It's a long way down. I haven't got it right now. I haven't got it right now. I'll get there eventually. I'll get there eventually. You want your money back? You want your money back, don't you? You want your money back? You want your money back, money back. You want your money back, money back. And it's a long way down. I haven't got it right now. It's a long way down. I haven't got it right now. I haven't got it right now. It's a long way down. I haven't got it right now. It's a long way down. I haven't got it right now. I haven't got it right now. I'll get there eventually. I'll get there eventually. You want some money back? You want some money back?
So this song is entitled Money Back. It is from Zuzu, as she is from Liverpool. I think that's fairly obvious when you can hear her going Money Back. But I'm not entirely sure. It can all be heard by everybody, so I thought I'd point it out anyway. We've posted a link directly to that artist via my Twitter feed, so if you want to find out more information about them in particular, then follow the breadcrumbs directly to my Twitter feed and beyond. And you can just add a like and a share to all of those in between, and I'm sure everybody's heart will be feeling warmer along the way, as music gets better when we share it together. That's what I really truly do believe. That's why I do what I do, even if it is difficult to explain. What have we got in store next? We've got Television's Over, which is the next song, and it is from the adverts. We've got an album in focus to return to, but we've also got some retro adverts. We'll be talking to you about some more movies, some more games, and a retro game from yesteryear. There is plenty for us to chat about, as well as reminding you that there's still time for you to cast your vote between glass half empty and glass half full, as that is this week's FightCon. I'll explain more after we've heard this next track and also seen the next bunch of adverts. So this is Television's Over by the adverts.
Time to pull out the plugs, but we run out of la 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 love. But we're being deserted or let loose. I've just seen the dead walk by and they don't seem jealous of my life. Let's take heart, see what lost, call it true. Television's over. Television's over. Now we stand on the shore, now we stand on the edge of some adventure. Now we have to close eyes and jump. Now we have no guiding light and all we see is our own sight. Take heart, take hope, trust. Television's over. Television's over. Another close down, another letdown, another breakdown. We shall wind down. We're just echoes. We're reflected. Turn us to the screen. Another picture's on it. Time to pull out the plugs, time to look above. Confused by science or just confused? Now brave men walk you too, but tonight they die and that just leaves you. Take heart, see what lost, call it true. Television's over. Television's over. Now feel no hunger. I feel no hunger. We feel no hunger. We feel no hunger.
Je du bonne. Il du bonne. Elle du bonne. Nous du bonheur. Il du bonne. Du bonnet vous.
And we're just 30 laps to go, eh?
Come along, Roger.
It may come as a nasty shock, but people need exercising just as much as dogs. If you just went for a few good walks, that'd be a start. the chances are you'll actually like it.
On you go. Here, Roger, fetch.
And once you really get going, your heart, your lungs, your muscles all get stronger. You'll shake off depression. You'll feel a new man.
Hang on.
Or a new woman.
Yeah. Where you go?
You'll put more effort into everything you do. And get a lot more out of it.
Roger. Come back at once. Come on.
A few minutes exercise every day could add so much to your life. Look after.
So, we are back. We've got an album in focus coming up very shortly. We'll be talking to you once again about London's Calling, which is the third studio album from The Clash, a band who was classed post-punk whilst the punk scene was still taking off. But an excellent band all the same, an album that has been well respected, and we'll be telling you more about it and hearing another song from London's Calling. From 1979. I'm pretty sure I said that a minute ago. Anyway, we've got all of that coming up after we've heard from Magazine. Because You're Frightened is the name of the song. We've still got brand new music, one more brand new song on today's show to talk to you about, as well as I wanted to encourage you to make your way over to the Twitter feed and cast your vote on FightCons. Which way do you see it? Is it the one in the very far column, glass half empty, or is it the one closest to me, glass half full? Or is it the other way around? I can't remember, but we're going to play some music and we'll try to remember. Here is Because You're Frightened. Getting ready for Halloween, maybe?
You love me because you're frightened, and I fall in love with you. Because I'm getting frightened of the things you somehow make me do. You love me because you're frightened, I can easily believe my eyes. Your fear is my finest hour, my fear is in your disguise. Look like this into my body, look like this into my body. Look what this done to my body. Look what this done to my body. A frightening world is an interesting world to be in. In the forbidden city, or on the roof of the world, or at the receiving end of the 9 o'clock news. However you put your mind to it, you can find there where you choose. Look what this done to my body. 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 You wanna hurt, you wanna pray.
So as I say, getting prepared... Oh, spooky. Getting prepared for Halloween, so I will be having a Halloween special. Each and every year when I was on the radio, I used to have a Halloween special. So this year I will also have a Halloween special on my own channel. So it's something to look forward to. So there will all be Halloween-themed music, and we'll be telling you about the spooky album in focus, or something along those lines. You'll have to stay tuned to the Twitter feed to find out more about that. Bless you for all of your sparks and for all of your involvement and attention to today's show. It does mean the world to me, sincerely. So, what have we got in store? We're going to be moving to the album in focus in just a second, which is from 1979 and The Clash. It's a very excellent double album. We'll be telling you more about that in just a moment. We won't have another official link to the album in focus, but we will be moving on to more great music, more brand new music, and more trailers still to come. Also, and things and stuff.
You want to praise and curse and blame.
There we go. Sorry, just trying to get those pictures sorted before we started talking. So we've just listened to Because You're Frightened from Magazine. That was Magazine, wasn't it? Yes, it is Magazine. Sorry, I just second-guessed myself there for a second. But that was Magazine with Because You're Frightened, and as I say, mentally getting prepared for the Halloween special that will be on its way, well, very shortly. Our album in focus to return to, and I haven't played the instrumental music for it for a number of weeks, so let's do that this week. Why not?
The album in focus. It's only the mother-loving album in focus, son.
Yes, it's the album in focus, the mother-loving album in focus, son, and it is from 1979. It is the third studio album from The Clash, and we were talking about the band members in the first hour of the show. We also told you about some of the additional musicians who was on the album, and hence that's the way we found our official link to Ian Dury and said Blockheads. This is a 5-star album. It is a Grammy award-winning album in the sense that it has been inducted into the Grammy Hall of Fame. It has made its way onto the Rolling Stones 500 Greatest Albums of All Time list at a very humble 8. If it's in single figures, wow. So anyway, it is a very, very respectable 8th position for The Clash. And I wanted to point out, I was talking about Toppers earlier on, I wanted to point out that Toppers has a childhood name, but Joe has a stage name. So I was wanted to point out that about the members. I didn't get around to that. We'll probably do that on Friday again. Not get around to it, I mean. The album was at the time compared to Exile on Main Street. They said the greatest double album of the time. They said that this was the next greatest double album of the time, of the decade in particular. 1972 was the Exile on Main Street album released from the Rolling Stones, and just in the tail end of the decade for 1979 for this album, London Calling. The cover is inspired by a Elvis Presley cover, so that's where it's paying homage to, but also many people have done a version of this cover paying homage to it now. The other thing I wanted to say is that the NME, they voted it the 6th best album of the 70s, and there was another thing I wanted to say. It was inducted into the BBC Radio 1's Masterpiece series in 2009 as well. This is a very excellent double album that you should either have in your collection, so hence add it back into rotation, or you should go and get your version. So we're going to move to Lost in the Supermarket.
I'm all lost in the supermarket. I can no longer shop happily. I came in here for a special offer, guaranteed personality. I wasn't born so much as I fell out. Nobody seemed to notice me. We had a hedge back home in the suburb, over which I never could see. I heard the people who live on the ceiling scream and fight scarily. Hearing that noise was my first ever feeling. That's how it's been all around me. I'm all lost in the supermarket. I can no longer shop happily. I came in here for a special offer, a guaranteed personality. I'm all tuned in, I see all the programs. I save coupons for packets of tea. I've got my giant hit discotheque album. I empty a bottle, I feel a bit free. Kids in halls and the pipes in the walls make me noises for company. Long distance callers make long distance calls, and the silence makes me lonely. I'm lost in the supermarket. I can no longer shop happily. I came in here for the special offer, a guaranteed personality. in the supermarket. I can no longer shop happily. I came in here for the special offer, guaranteed personality. I'm all lost in the supermarket. I can no longer shop happily. I came in here for a special offer, guaranteed personality. I'm all lost in the supermarket. I'm all lost. I can no longer shop happily. I'm all lost. I came in here for a special offer, guaranteed personality. I'm all lost. I'm all lost in the supermarket. I'm all lost. I no longer shop happily. I'm all lost. Came in here for a special offer, guaranteed personality. I'm all lost in the supermarket. I can no longer shop happily. I can't ever a special offer, guaranteed personality. I'm all lost. I'm all lost. I'm all lost. I'm all lost in the
So
supermarket.
providing the lead vocals on this track is Mick Jones here. He is one of the main writing forces behind The Clash, as well as Joe. He sort of provides the backing vocals on this track in particular. So we were listening to a song where he provided the lead vocals to it in the first hour of the show. That was Clampdown, which was originally a single released in Australia, but only in Australia. That was not released as a single at all, but it's a beautiful song, and that's why I had to share it with you. As music gets better, the more we share it. I'm sure it does. I'm sure it does. I'll continue to do so. So anyway, we've got an album in focus to return to on Friday's show, but it will not be returned to again on today's show. That is the last we've seen on today's show from London's Calling. But that was Joe, and that's Mick, and we've also got the others, and there's another one, and there we go. That's the album in focus. We'll be back to it again on Friday's show. What we've got in store next, sorry, I like to make myself laugh in the hope that I'm making you laugh too. We're going to be moving on to the Buzzcocks with their song Jerk, but we've still got some brand new trailers and all of those sorts of things to get out of the way. So whilst we don't have the sound for them, we're playing music over the top of them. That's the way we do them. That's not a technical difficulty. That's the way I tend to do them. So we're going to be moving on to another trailer. I'm trying to find the information so we can just move straight onto it now, but I should probably just play the next song. We'll get it all set up and we'll be talking to you about it, and then we'll be hearing music over the top of it. Here is the Buzzcocks.
Yesterday when I figured out I called you on the phone. Instead of being warm, you seemed so cold. Was it something that I said or something on your mind? No matter what it was, we had around. Believe me, I'm sorry, I never meant to argue. I'm a jerky right, you dealt me so. Forgive me, I beg you, you know I only love you. Wish I hadn't told you where to go. It was my fault, you're not to blame. It's me who's in the wrong. That's why I wrote this song just to explain. Accept my apology, it comes in from my heart. Let's put it all behind us and move on. Believe me, I'm sorry, I never meant to argue. I'm jerky right to tell me so. Forgive me, I beg you, you know I only love you. Wish I hadn't told you where to go.
I'm with you. I'll be talking in a second. Thank you very much for joining me, you lovely people. That is Buzzcocks. I said the Buzzcocks, didn't I, earlier on? It's not the Buzzcocks at all. It's Buzzcocks with Jerk. But there is some people who it would really matter to that I said the at the beginning. Anyway, we're going to move on with the show, as I pointed out that mistake a little bit too much. This is the next movie we're talking about. It's called Hunt. I said Hunt, no, but it's Haunt. Haunt, that's what I should have said. Here we are, that's the new movie. First, probably a deliberate mistake, of course it was. Haunt is friends go to a haunted house at Halloween and find some of the monsters are real. So this has received a 7.2 rating from us. It is a Halloween-based scary movie, age rated at 18. So do keep that in mind. If you need to turn your gaze away, and maybe now would be a good time, as we don't play the sound, we just play some lovely music over the top of it. So we're going to be counteracting this scary trailer with Funboy 3. Funboy 3 and their song Alone. So we'll be playing the trailer for this brand new movie, and if you want to find out more about it, I'm tweeting out about it in just a second. Check the Twitter feed.
Doesn't help trying to talk over the phone. You're there, I'm here, alone. When I'm here, alone, the hours turn into days, still nothing's changed. When I see you again, what will you say? Can I stay? When the lights go out, when I'm on my own, it just doesn't help reading the card you sent from home. You're there, I'm here, alone. I am here, alone. I am here alone.
Is it just me or extra spooky with that song in particular? I think maybe it was. Fingers crossed. Wanted to give it a different layer. So, if you want to see that trailer with all of its sound gruesomeness, then make your way to the Twitter feed, where I've already tweeted out a direct link to their Twitter feed. So that's what I do. I try to share a direct link to the official pages of the brand new music movies, games, and all of that, all of the above. Actually, even for the old ones as well. So for the retrospective game that we'll be talking about in the third and final hour of the show, or actually it's not a full hour, the third and final part of the show, we'll be talking about a retro game as well that I'll be directing you to the company that was behind it too. Up next, we've got a song from the White Stripes. Then there's some brand new music. We'll be finishing off the brand new music on today's show in this hour. There is still plenty of features to get through. So we've also got another few trailers to get through too. So thank you very much for joining me. Bless you so much. Bless your hearts. I'm not going to stop doing it because I think you are so wonderful. I do feel blessed by the fact that you have joined me. So yeah, it is something maybe I'm overusing ever so slightly, but who knows? Maybe I lean into it for now. Let's see. Up next, the White. Hold up, wait a minute. We've lost sound. Why did we lose music sound? That's like integral to the show. If we don't have music, then we don't really have much of a show, really. I'm going to try that one again. Fingers crossed. It was just a silly little glitch that will go away. I said glitch, just in case anybody thought I said something else. This is meant to be the White Stripes.
If you think that a kiss is on the lips, come on, you got it
Oh, yeah.
all, man. And if you think that our dance was all in the hips, oh well, then do the twist. If you think holding hands is all in the fingers, grab hold of the soul where the memory lingers, and make sure to never do it with the singers, cause it's tell everyone in the world what he was thinking about the girl. Forget what he's thinking about the girl. Oh, a lot of people get confused and they're bruised real easy when it comes to love. They stop putting on the shoes and walking out and singing, boy, I think I had enough. Just because she makes me feel wrong, but she don't mean to be mean or hurt you on purpose, boy. Take a tip and do yourself a little service. Take a mountain, turn it into a mole. Just by playing a different role. Yeah, by playing a different role. Oh, yeah, you know she's rocking it. And the truth, well, you know there's no stopping it. Yeah. Oh, yeah, you know she's still rocking it. And the truth, well, you know there's no stopping it. So what? Somebody left you in a rut and wants to be the one who's in control. But the feeling that you're under can really make you wonder how the hell she could be so cold. So now you're left denying the truth, and it's hidden in the wisdom in the back of your tooth. You need to spit it out in a telephone booth while you call everyone that you know and ask her, where do you think she goes? Oh yeah, where do you suppose she goes? Oh, the truth, where you know there's no stopping it, and the bowl where you know she's still rocking it. Yeah. The bowl where you know it's still rocking it, and the truth there you know there's no stopping it.
Okay, so let's run through a bit of a list. Let's see what we've got through already. And so that is the White Stripes that's playing at the moment. Slightly more in the background. We have brand new music coming up next. It would be the last of the brand new music on today's show. We will have more brand new music on Friday's show, where we will also return to the album in focus, which is from The Clash, London Calling, and it was the first studio album from them, the 5-star album from them that was released back in 1979. We will tell you more about it on Friday, though. We've got left on today's show, we've got a retrospective. So we look back to the games of yesteryear that have brought us to this gaming utopia that we find us at now. We've also got more, maybe from the charts of yesteryear, from the music charts of yesteryear, as that music is excellent. Selection of music that was brand new into this week's chart of many moons ago. So I'll tell you about the ones that we'll be choosing as and when we get there. Brand new music is from this new artist next, which is Julian Chang. And Julian is from Baltimore, US of A. And the name of the song is Memory Loss. I am tweeting right now about this new artist. And if you want to follow the breadcrumbs, make your way to LJAY_TV, and then you will find that link to that new artist, or this new artist, I should say. Have a listen, see what you think before you go anywhere, maybe. So this is brand new artist from Baltimore, US of A, and his name is Julian Chung. There he is, pictured in the window, and also in the window. So it's a window within a window. I love the way it works out in the end sometimes. That is the other picture I was meant to show you earlier on when we were talking about Zuzu, who was also part of the brand new music. Bless you for joining us. Thank you very much. And for the host, thank you very much for the host. Now I see what that was procking. It was just taking a little long to load in. Might have to look at what the problem is with the notifications on my screen here. Anyway, we'll work our way around to that as and when we get there, really. But that was new music from Julian Chung that we've just heard a moment ago. We're going to be moving on to not brand new music. We're going to be moving on to a song from Bad Manners in a moment, but we're going to be moving on to another trailer. So whilst we'll be enjoying the music from Bad Manners, which is entitled Ni Na 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 Nu, I think that's how you say it. Forgive my pronunciation. We're going to move on to what did we have last time? Did we have a movie? I think we had a movie last time. We're going to move on to a game anyway. We're going to tell you about a game, and that is this is Stranded Sails. Stranded Sails has received a 6.9 rating from us. I need to get the picture up. That's why I was messing about with the pictures earlier on. I just forgot to click on that one as well. So that's the box I need, and that's the picture. Stranded Sails. Here we are. Stranded Sails is explorers of a cursed island, open world shipwreck Marina's farming style game. It just seems a little bit disjointed, or maybe I'm just more tired, or have more tired eyes than I thought I had. This is a puzzle type style game with lots of farming elements to it as well. It is apparently a huge open world experience to be had on this game. It is available on the Switch. It has received a modest 6.9 rating from us, so you will have to find out more information about it. We'll also be playing the trailer whilst we listen to Bad Manners. This is Bad Manners with Ni Na Na Ni Na Na. There it is. So that was the last game of the list of brand new games we like to talk to you about on a Wednesday. We highlight 3 games, one for each of the consoles and one for the PC as well. So that was for the Switch. We finished off in a different order this week, mainly because I got a little bit jumbled up. But I think those who have been here since the beginning of the stream will remember that point, but not remind me of it, certainly. I've already done that to myself. So that was Bad Manners with Nina Ni. I can never say it properly. He does it so much, but he does it. Bluster Bud Vessel does it much better than I do. That's what I should be saying. The very excellent artist that he is. So we move to our last song of the second hour of the show, and then we'll be back with some more trailers and more information to pass on, as well as a retrospective game to remind you of, and also set us up for tomorrow's stream, where we'll be playing that retrospective game for the first hour of tomorrow's stream. It is not just an hour long, we'll be playing other games on it too. That's mainly my main point. It'll be a very different type of game than you have seen, a very different type of stream, sorry, than you have seen on today's stream. So I'm rambling ever so slightly. We're going to finish off with Gangsters from the Specials. Not the Specials AKA. Just want to point that out. It's important.
Yes. You get your clothes on. I'll buy you an ice cream.
Your alternative news for Wednesday the 23rd of October. From Australia we hear that Chris the Merino sheep has died of old age. He shot to fame in 2015 after he was found in the wild carrying a world record fleece weighing 88 pounds. Poor little lamb. Your weather outlook has maybe a bit of rain and maybe a bit of sun, but whatever the weather, to try to have fun. Now on with the show at LJTV.
You're listening to Online here on OJTV. A Wednesday wander in a wacky world of wonders. Thank you for your time.
I'm with it. I'm get. Alive, it's alive, it's alive.
Didn't turn down the music before I put the camera on. Now you can see why I normally do. I'm normally a little bit too close. Right, taking a step back, what have we got in store for the third and final segment of today's show? Well, it's a bit more of the same if you saw last week's show. And what we'll be up to is that we'll be telling you about a retrospective game, so a game of yesteryear that is worth merit. And if you don't believe me from what I tell you about it on today's show, you can always join me on tomorrow's show where I'll be playing said game for you to enjoy as well. No doubt I'll be getting furious with it. So this week we'll be telling you about a Sega game very shortly, but there's also another movie to talk to you about. We don't have any more brand new music, that will be on Friday's show. But there is also the option for you to ask me anything. This is the part of the show where you can ask me anything. You could get your suggestions in. If you've got any artists that you want me to focus in on, them in particular, maybe for a album in focus, because then I could happily take that suggestions. But all suggestions must be remembered that anything you suggest, so long as it's not going to offend with a refusal, then please do suggest. I don't mind any suggestions, but if I don't take it up, don't take it personal. There we are. What else have we got in store? Some great music along the lines. We'll also be moving back to the charts of yesteryear, as there are some great songs in the Bible this week. And when I say Bible, I mean my chart Bible that I write, so that I know what was out the right weeks that I'm currently trying to look for them. So with all of this said and done, let's get chatting, let's get to know each other, and let's get some great music on in store as well. Now, there.
Time is never time at all. You can never ever leave without leaving a piece of you. And our lives are forever changed. We will never be the same. The more you change, the less you feel. Believe in me. Believe. Life can change, but you're not stuck in vain. We're not the same, we're different tonight. Tonight, so bright. Tonight. And you know you're never sure, but you're sure you could be right if you held yourself up to the light. And the embers never fade. It was city by the lake, the place where you were born. Believe in me. Believe. In the resolute urgency of now. And if you believe, there's not a chance tonight, so bright. Tonight, we'll crucify the insincere tonight. We'll make things right, we'll feel it.
I gotta give you credit for trying. But so long as refusal does not insult, all requests are welcome. No, I don't really know much death metal. But you never know, might get around to like a Sabbath album or something like that. You never know. Never know. Anyway, we've been currently listening to the Smashing Pumpkins. That was the first song of this third and final part of today's show. We will be moving on to other content from this show. We'll be hosting someone in our new way, so we'll take a look at their channel on this channel before we make our way over there and show them some Mixer love, as that's where I primarily stream on. Mixer in particular. I am currently holding my particular musical Bible in my hand, so that must mean we are returning to the charts of yesteryear, and we are this week of 1984, the year of the very important George Orwell novel. But this week at number 23 was Love's Great Adventure by Ultravox. So I thought we would play that now. Not quite death metal for you, Devil's Son, but God loves a trier. And there goes Devil's Son.
Standing on my own, it didn't mean that much to me. I thought I had it all. I didn't see the mystery. I stood the test of time and took the step to find love's great adventure. I spoke a million words. They didn't mean that much to me. They rang around my head like empty tuneless harmonies of great adventures. Lying side by side, it didn't mean that much to me. I'm starting to enjoy the poetry and symphonies. I took it in my stride and hailed the day I tried love's great adventure. A fool who couldn't see, it didn't mean that much to me. I couldn't understand. That's how the game is meant to be. Love's great adventures.
Okay, I may have a song that might be something that will be acceptable for the death metal request that the Devil's Son has just placed in chat. Let's see if I've knocked the next track out of the park with the request. So, fingers crossed. We're going to continue listening to Ultravox with Love's Great Adventure. Back in a moment.
Love's great adventure. Love's great adventure. Standing on my own, it didn't mean that much to me. I thought I had it all. I didn't see the mystery. I stood the test of time. I took the step to find love's great adventures.
Oh, wrong button. That one. No, that one. It doesn't work, that's why. It was working. That's the one I'm currently looking for. And we're back over at the desk. And we're back in the room. So, just need to turn off some of this stuff. We've got plenty of trailers. We've still got one trailer left to go. So I will switch off or on all the right links. So for us to go into that in just a moment. But I need to turn off the pictures so we don't have to see them. There we go. We go back to that. Right. You asked for some death metal, and as requested, up next we've got some death metal for you. But there is also another movie to talk to you about, and then we'll be looking back to a retrospective, and we'll have another set of adverts, and then that's pretty much it for today's show. I'm going to slowly wrap it up before we hit the top of the hour. So up next, here is Eagles of Death Metal. Come on, they've got death metal in the name of their band. Come on, that's got to count, surely. With Wannabe in LA. Oh!
I came to LA to make rock and roll. Along the way I had to sell my soul. I made some good friends that make me say I really wanna be in LA. I took the 10 to get to Beverly, laid some rock to tape, roll out on 180. I looked at Natasha, always make me say I really wanna be in LA. I take the city in the dead of night. I'm burning gas until I feel alright. My sunset honeys always make me say I really wanna be in LA. I came to LA to make rock and roll. Along the way I had to sell my soul. I made some good friends that make me say I really wanna be in LA. I really wanna be in LA. I really wanna be, really wanna be, really wanna be in LA.
I did point out God Loves a Trial before I even played that song. Eagles of Death Metal. It's a great band, and they are connected to Queens of the Stone Age via Josh Holm, who is a member of that band with many other different links to be had. So we're going to move on with the show rather than focusing on that very excellent band and artist and song because it's not the album in focus for this week. We are going to move to another movie to talk to you about. I haven't been playing any of my my normal background music, but let's tell you about this movie anyway. So this is age rated at 15, so it's the lower end of the scale. So this might be the shock for you for this week. So let me tell you all about it. It's called Crawl. A woman tried to protect her father from alligators during a hurricane. So that has received a 6.7 rating from us, so very middle of the road. You might want to keep that in mind before you go out and seek for your copy. So I would suggest a little bit more research before you find out about these alligator infested waters. It's a little bit like Hard Rain if somebody threw an alligator in there as well. But we're going to be seeing the trailer in just a moment, and whilst we'll be watching the trailer, we'll be listening to Wave, see, every pun intended, Wave of Manipulation. So this is from the Pixies though.
Cease to resist, giving my goodbye. Kiss mermaids, rode the Andino. Walk the sand without crustaceans. Could find my way to Mariana. On a wave of mutilation, 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 wave of mutilation,
That is the Pixies from late 90s, 99, 98, thereabouts. Anyway, that is Wave of Mutilation, sorry, Wave of Mutilation. And then we played that with the trailer that we were talking about a moment ago, which was Crawl. It is age rated at 15, and the information is now available on the Twitter feed for all to have, share, hold, and maybe not neither of the above. I don't know. Up next, we've got a song from Biffy Clyro. We're getting a little bit more rock, a little bit more heavy, in particular inspired because of the Devil's Son in chat, throwing down the metaphorical gauntlet. I have then, of course, tried to pick it up. So we're going to try and get a little bit more rocky with Biffy Clyro, a very excellent trio from Scotland, if you haven't heard of them before. But we've also got, following that, a retro retrospective, and there is adverts to be had, and those adverts must take precedence, so they will be happening next. We just need to go to that desk. Anyway, here I am over at the desk. It just takes me so long to run from that studio to this studio. If I could just use the teleporter, that's what I'm trying to push the button. I'm trying to push the button that teleports me directly into this studio. Anyway, we're here now. Let's not worry about it too much. Well, you know, technology this far advance on a channel that is this so retro. What did you expect? It's never going to quite work perfectly. We're crossing the streams, as Ghostbusters would say. So we've got what is it I wanted to go over here for? It's the ad break. Yes, let's move over to an ad break, and then we'll be back with the last part of today's show. Parting is such sweet sorrow, but we have one part left. So we just need to get the right adverts selected. I think that may be these ones, and yeah, there we go. Back in a moment.
Je Dubonne. Il Dubonne.
Another first from Flymo. New Flymo DXE. First ever hobble mower to cut and collect the grass. Light and easy DXE from the Flymo range. Simply the most advanced lawn mowers in the world.
The power of Old Spice. Nut. Feel it. Sense it. The power of Old Spice. The mark of a man.
We get there in the end. Okay, I think I may be having some technical issues, something that I'm going to have to look at before we get back to you lovely people on Friday's show. But I don't think it's hampering us too much, or I certainly hope it isn't. We've got a couple more songs before I make my way out of the studio anyway. But before we get there, there is a retro to be remembered. And there is a few more songs to get through as well. So, you lovely people, if you've got any questions about me or where I come from, my history, maybe I can avoid those answers or ignore them completely. But I certainly won't be doing it on purpose. So feel free to ask. If refusal does not insult, then of course, always feel free to ask. You'll never know if you don't ask. Up next, we've got Animal Style from Biffy Clyro. This is for Devil's Son. If he has returned, I certainly hope he has. If not, I certainly hope he can hear this at least. Anyway, we're getting heavier for you.
I painted up slow, but now it's just a ritual. I didn't want the captain's role, but I'll steer us over highs and lows. It's coming on, but for you it's individual, and that makes me hysterical. I'm never gonna let you go. My body's gone cold, my body's gone cold, my body's gone cold, and I've lost control. Why'd you waste your time? With me I'm just an animal. Can you realize my head's a fucking carnival? All I wanna feel's a little chemical rush. All I really know is that it won't take long. I leave you alive. I'm just a fucking animal. A simple love. No, it can never be enough. And I don't know who I can trust. I'm teetering upon the edge. It's visceral. When I hunt you, I can never show. This has become habitual. And I will do it over and over and over and over and over. My body's gone cold. My body's gone cold. My body's gone cold. And I've lost control. Why'd you waste your time? With me, I'm just an animal. Can you realize my head's a fucking carnival? All I wanna feel's a little chemical rush. All I really know is that it won't take long. I leave you alive. I'm just a fucking animal. Why'd you waste your time? With me, I'm just an animal. Can you realize my head's a fucking carnival? All I want feels a little chemical rush. All I really know is that it won't take long. I leave you alive. I'm just a fucking animal.
Almost the perfect song to be moving into our this week's Remembering Retro, if I can remember how to say it. So, Remembering Retro for this week is from 1991. It is from the Sega, and has received a 8.2 score from us from way back in 1991. Flicky was released. Originally, it is a single-player game, and we will be playing it on tomorrow's stream. Do you have fond memories of this, or have you got no idea what I'm talking about? Don't worry, we'll clarify on today's show a little bit more, and even more so on tomorrow's stream. So, at the same time slot as today's show has started, you will find me at 4 o'clock tomorrow playing, for the first hour of the show at the very least, playing Flicky. So Flicky is a single-player game, originally released in arcades in Japan in 1984. We had to wait 7 years before the game would make it over to the Sega, which is why even when it was released over here, it had a dated look to it anyway. But it was because it was such an excellent game that it took, that it still came over after 7 years. So to get a 7 years wait, and it was released on the Genesis. So Flicky is a blue bird who tries to gather all of the little chirps and then gets them to the exit without getting touched by a lizard or a cat enemies along the way. So it's a little bit like Lemmings in the sense that you need to get your small little creatures to the exit, very much in that sort of way. The game, there are items that Flicky can use to protect the chirps from danger on 48 levels to complete the 48 stages to complete the game. Wow, just muddling up my words. Let me get there in the end. All right, take your time, LJ. So, and once you have completed it, the level starts again, but on a harder difficulty. So originally called Bushy, but changed to English-speaking markets to Flicky. Appears in many, and the character appears in many subsequent games as well. So that's what I wanted to say. That's all the information we have about this game, and there is also the trailer to watch, or a little bit of information on video to watch as well. So we'll have that whilst we move on to our next song, which will be Out of the Blue, which is from Royal Blood. Royal Blood. Anyway, here we are. This is the trailer and Royal Blood playing over the top. Oops, wrong trailer. Didn't get at all. Bear with me.
So don't breathe when I talk, 'cause you haven't been spoken to. I got a gun for a mouth and a bullet with your name on it. But it's trigger for a heartbeat and blood from an empty pocket.
It's nice to see it being done professionally, but you can watch me try my best at it on tomorrow's stream between the hours of 4 and 8. Is it 4 and 8? Yes, 4 and 8 for tomorrow. Yeah, so I'm just trying to get myself used to the new time schedules that have changed ever so slightly, and also I think that light has moved since I have moved. Oh yeah, maybe I bumped into it. Don't think I did. Anyway, what have we got in store? We've got one more song and then I'm out of the virtual door. So thank you very much for joining me for another successful episode of Online. This was episode 44. You people have been wonderful. You lovely, lovely people. Thank you very much for joining me. And as I do say, bless you for joining me because I feel blessed all the same. So until we meet again, it could be tomorrow's stream. There could be Friday's stream if you only enjoy the web shows. Then you're more than welcome. Back on Wednesday, on Friday is the next web show, or I'll be back in 7 days' time for the next web show afterwards. But I'll be playing some games between now and then as well. So whatever your plan is, do take care of yourselves, but don't go leaving just yet. I'm going to play the next song. We're going to get set up to take a look at the next person we're hosting. So we're going to host someone who is a friend of the channel. Stay tuned for more excellent content coming up on this channel via host, and send them over the follow if the content is to your liking. And it totally should be. Up next, I should have said, up next is Queens of the Stone Age with Go With The Flow.
She said I'll throw myself away. They're just photos after all. I can't make you hang around. I can't wash you off my skin. Outside the frame is what we're leaving out. Won't remember in a way. I can go with the flow. Don't say it doesn't matter. With the flow, matter anymore. I can go with the flow. I can go. You believe it in your head. It's so safe to play along. Little soldiers in a row, falling in and out of love. Something sweet to throw away. I want something good to die for, to make it beautiful to live. I want a new mistake, lose this more than hesitate. You believe it in your head. I can go with the flow. Don't say it doesn't matter. With the flow, matter anymore. I can go with the flow. You believe it in your head. You believe it in your head. You believe it in your head.
So, I've just taken a look at what we've got available, where we were going to go to next, and it would seem that my desired place to move the host to isn't quite up and running yet. So, we might continue with the show, I think, till 7 o'clock. Sorry, I think my timing is a little off, mainly because I'm not used to being in this time slot. It's a new change of pace, but we're going with the flow. See? Queens of the Stone Age, it all links together in the end. Thank you very much for joining me in today's stream. Bless you for joining us, Jelly, and I have been blessing many people. many people along the way have been referred to as the Reverend LJ as well. So bless you one and all for joining me as well. What have we got in store next? I thought we would move to some Primus. A gauntlet was thrown down about me playing some more rock music, more death metal actually in particular, as I have been explicit on the channel before that death metal is the only thing that I don't listen to, let alone play. So I never play music on the channel that I won't have to sit through, and not like. So I only ever play music that I like on the show, and I always take requests, but death metal is too much of a wide request anyway. So we've got a little bit more rocky on today's show. That's the direction I went with anyway. So we've still got some great music in store to get us to the top of the hour. I'll be answering questions. Feel free to ask them, or I'll be avoiding or ignoring them if I miss them along the way. The best way to get my attention would be to or whisper me or find a sympathetic ear in one of my stellar mods that we have in chat today. On to Jerry was a race car driver. Finishing anyway. I know, I was going to say, who am I to argue with Primus? After all, they are Primus. But that was Jerry was a race car driver, but wasn't Jerry a cat? Tom and Jerry style. I don't know. I'm not arguing, I'm just putting forward my different point of view. That's mostly the thing I do here on this channel. There goes my arm again, disappearing as I lean on that. Should not be leaning on that anymore. Right, up next we've got some Rage Against the Machine, and yes, I'm going to continue to try and get even more rocky as we continue throughout the show, but may not end up in death metal. I still have quite an aversion to death metal, but I am trying, and God loves a trier. Let's hope the Devil's Son loves a trier too. We've got Balls on Parade from Rage Against the Machine.
The microphone explodes, shattering the molds. Need a drop it hits like they la oh, get the fuck off the commode with the short shot. Sure to make the bodies drop, dropping no copy, yo, or call us a co-op. Terror rays stretching, quenching the thirst of the power dawn. That five-sided fist of God, that rocket sore on the face of the earth gets bigger. The triggers go empty your purse. Rally around the family with a pocket full of shells. They rally around the family with a pocket full of shells. They rally around the family with a pocket full of shells. They rally around the family with a pocket full of shells. Weapons, not food, not hope, not shoes, not need, just feed the war cannibal animal. I walk the corner to the rumble that used to be a library, line up to the mine cemetery now. What we don't know keeps the contract alive and moving. They don't gotta burn the book, they just remove them. While arms, warehouses, villains, quick as a cell. Rally around the family, pockets full of shells. Rally around the family with a pocket full of shells. They rally around the family with a pocket full of shells. They rally around the family with a pocket full of shells. They rally around the family with a pocket full of shells.
There I am. So that was Balls on Parade from Rage Against the Machine. You're watching LJTV, and bless your cotton socks for doing so. This is episode 44, and we're just wrapping up at 7 o'clock. That's what we're aiming for. Got some more rocky tunes going on, and yes, you're absolutely right. Primers is great, which is why I try my best not to argue with them. Up next, we've got Down with the Sickness. I will be taking it a little bit slower after this next track.
lightning. Will you give it to me? It seems what's left of my human side is slowly changing in me. Will you give it to me? Looking at my own reflection, when suddenly it changes, violently it changes. Oh no, there is no turning back now. You've woken up the demon. Yeah, man. Get up, come on, get down with the sickness. Get up, come on, get down with the sickness. Get up, come on, get down with the sickness. Open up your hate and then never wanna make. Get up, come on, get down with the sickness. You mother, get up, come on, get down with the sickness. You fucker, get up, come on, get down with the sickness. And this is the gift that has been given to me. I can see inside you, the sickness is rising. Don't try to deny what you feel. Will you give it to me? It seems that all that once good has died and is decaying in me. Will you give it to me? It seems you're having some trouble in dealing with these changes, living with these changes. Oh no, the world is a scary place now that you've woken up the demon. Yeah, man. Get up, come on, get down with the sickness. Get up, come on, get down with the sickness. Get up, come on, get down with the sickness. Open up your hate and let it burn to me. Get up, come on, get down with the sickness. You mother, get up, come on, get down with the sickness. You fucker, get up, come on, get down with the sickness. And this is the gift that has been given to me.
Yes, Disturbed, the gateway drug into heavier rock music, of course. I wouldn't quite say they're death metal, though. Anyway, that is Disturbed with Down with the Sickness. After this, we've got maybe 2 songs before we finish the show. We will be hosting, or we intend to be hosting, VTech, sending the love back to VTech, who will be starting his show at 7 o'clock, I do believe. So stay tuned for that. We'll be taking a look at the stream on today's stream before we make our way over there. I'd like to make sure where we're landing before we go there. That's the whole idea behind it. But also he is the inspiration behind that. So he looks where he's going before he lands there too. So have to pay it forward. We're going to move to Greta Van Fleet in just a second. And then we've got one more song intended for the set list.
Oh, get up, come on, get down with the sickness. Get up, come on, get down with the sickness. Get up, come on, get down with the sickness. Open up your hate and then never wanna make. Get up, come on, get down with the sickness. You mother, get up, come on, get down with the sickness. You fucker, get up, come on, get down with the sickness. And this has now come over me.
So that was Down with the Sickness from Disturbed. We've got Greta Van Fleet with Edge of Darkness, and yes, they do sound very much sort of Led Zeppelin inspired, at the very least. We've been talking about all sorts of things on today's show. We've still got the opportunity to vote on fight cons before Friday's web show, where we will announce the winner between Glass Half Full and Glass Half Empty. You can still cast your vote at the Twitter feed and have your vote counted. We will also be having a bout, so that is just the poll. It is the debate we can spark between these two fight cons, these icons in their own rights, and we will have a fight being held on Fridays, so a Friday fight night as well, still to come. So one will be fighting for the honour of, and we'll have it the battle played out by AI on the stream. So that is a new addition. That's why I'm struggling to explain it, because it's difficult to explain. So you'll have to tune in Friday to find out about that, and also see whether your vote and where you cast it actually counted, whether it already won. Who knows? We'll find out on Friday about that. But We've had brand new music, we've had an album in focus. I can highly recommend that you add London Calling to your collection. It should be one of these pictures along here somewhere. I don't know, it's somewhere along there. But we've got to return to that album on Friday's show. We'll have more brand new music then, and all sorts of stuff still to come on those shows. But tomorrow's show will be a return to this Remembering Retro, which is why I've left it on the screen. It is flicky. It took 7 years before it made it into our gaming market. Find out whether the wait was worth it. Here is Edge of Darkness, and we're going to be hosting very shortly. So this is where we're going, and we've just been, and where we've just been is Edge of Darkness with Greta Van Fleet. Thank you so much for joining me for today's stream. We're moving over to VTech, who is just about to get started. I'm not entirely sure what game it is he's going to be playing, but as you can see, he is just getting underway. So if you're enjoying the content on his channel, please do provide the follow. I know that he'll be grateful for it. Let's move on to our very last song as we enjoy some of those visuals, I suppose. We'll move on to our very last song, which also reminds you that coming up on this stream, you'll have a Halloween special. So I'm going to play Burn the Witch from Radiohead as our very last song on today's set list. Thank you so much. I do feel blessed, as I do use that word. I have been using that word quite a lot recently. Let's see if I can draw that back in a little bit, but I certainly do feel blessed, so thank you so much for joining me on today's stream. It's episode 44, now done and dusted. Here is Burn the Witch, and take care of yourselves. Until we meet again, do be lucky.
In the shadows, cheer the gallows. This is a roundup. This is a low-flying panic attack. Sing a song on the jukebox that goes. Red crosses on wooden doors. If you float, you burn. Loose talk around tables. Abandon all reason. Avoid all eye contact. Do not react. Shoot the messengers. This is a low-flying panic attack. Sing a song of sixpence that goes.